Everyone, welcome to 996 The Howl for the uninitiated. This is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes. 4 days off felt like an eternity, and I don't know why. I was yearning for Coyotes hockey for 4 straight days, and it started off really well. I mean, the Coyotes came out on fire, fuego, 11-1 the shots, out shooting the St. Louis Blues, running around in the Blues offensive zone. They get the goal, which is what I've been harping on most of the season. Coyotes have good offensive zone time and possession, but they need to capitalize when they have a lot of that momentum, just in case that they don't capitalize and the other team goes the other way and scores, and then they get deflated because this team is mentally weak for some reason. But they get the first goal, things looking good. Blues start to respond. The Coyotes get into penalty trouble, and Hoffman scores because Goligoski trips on the invisible wire attached to the blue line, and Darcy Kemper probably should have saved that one. I mean, no screen, no deflection, just a clean shot from top of the circle. Yes, it's a world-class shot, and Mike Hoffman only does what Mike Hoffman only does, which is score goals, which I would have liked the Coyotes to grab, but unfortunately, due to cap circumstances, they couldn't get him. Actually, I think they could have after the step-on deal. I think he's only getting $4 million this year. But anyways, moving on, it's 1-1, and then the Coyotes just stopped playing since they scored their first goal. They didn't get their next shot after their goal until the second period, so that's a long time. I think it was about 13, 15 minutes. And the Blues just overworked the Coyotes since they were down 1-0, and it just continued. The defensive coverage for the Coyotes was the worst I've seen almost all season, probably next to that Game 2 game against Vegas, where the Coyotes were running around. They were just puck watching so much. The defensemen were at the point for some reason. There was I think Justin Falk's goal. Jordan Gross was literally at the blue line challenging the puck carrier. I mean, the Coyotes are best when they're defending, when they're just standing still and not moving as much and blocking passing lanes and blocking shots, which is why they went perfect on the penalty kill, because you're not running around on a penalty kill. You're just playing your little zone areas, and you're not moving as much. But I mean, Jordan Gross, Jason Demers just running around all over their D zone. It was just bad all night. And I guess this is one of the games where you really miss Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who stabilizes the defense so much. He makes Jason Demers look so good. I mean, for the past 3 seasons, I haven't had any qualms with Demers. He's pretty much invisible, but he does a good job defensively. But without OEL, he just seems so out of place. I don't know if it's because he's paired with Jordan Gross sometimes. And speaking of Jordan Gross, I'm pretty sure he played his last game for a while. Ilya Lyubushkin just got activated this morning after the game, and I'm pretty sure Tocchet is never going to pull Lyubushkin out of this lineup. Bush is a very solid defensive defenseman who doesn't really take offensive risks. Yes, his first pass out of the zone is pretty average or below average compared to guys like Gross and Kyle Capobianco, but he's a big body who plays a good defensive game, blocks shots, and I think Tocchet just wants that stability on the defensive zone. You can't have liabilities like Gross and Capobianco in the lineup. And Victor Soderstrom was put down to the Tucson Roadrunners, not because Soderstrom's worse than those two, but they want Soderstrom to play top minutes, top power play minutes, top penalty killing minutes, and just play all situations, get used to North American ice, and just lead that defensive core in Tucson to their divisional title, because Soderstrom was probably not going to get all those opportunities on the Coyotes, especially with Ekman-Larsson coming back in about a couple of days, maybe a week more. He's on the trip with the team, just practicing with the team and skating, but I don't expect him until probably after the Minnesota series, which is this weekend. So he could be back by their next home game next week. But yeah, this game was poor. I don't understand why the Coyotes look so good at times and then they can't sustain that offensive pressure and that juice and energy for 60 minutes, but not even 60 minutes. They just stopped playing from their first goal they scored until like the last 4 minutes of the game, where they tried to get back 2 more. They managed to get 1 more, which probably bodes well for their next game against the St. Louis Blues because of these like series matchups. It's good to get that last goal, carry that momentum from the end of the game to the next game. But I don't understand the emotional instability of this team to not sustain good hockey for long periods of time, or it's just silly mistakes like tripping yourself on a blue line, or puck watching, or not getting your assignment coming back in your D zone, or getting a 4-minute high sticking penalty a second into the third period. Like, that killed me. Like, each of these games, these 1-goal regulation games, this is the regulation losses, sorry. This is their third out of 5 1-goal regulation losses. The 2-1-0 shutouts, where it was a bad icing call in one, John Gibson playing out of his mind in the other, and then this one where there's so many individual mistakes. Also, the Coyotes stopped playing, but still, there's individual accidents happening that just, if it's a 1-goal game, these mistakes are so glaring that if these mistakes didn't happen, it could be a tie game, or they could have won 3-2. I'm not saying they deserve to win this game because they didn't play like they deserve to win this game, but you know, when you're down 3-2 heading into the third and you get a 4-minute penalty immediately, that just kills fans and kills the team. And I know they didn't score on that power play, but because the Blues took a penalty during their 4-minute power play. But that 4-on-4, if it was 5-on-5, that goal doesn't happen. So much ice to skate. Jordan Gross and Schmaltz go after the same puck carrier, and Garland doesn't get his assignment coming back into his zone, and it makes it 4-2. And then you knew it was over from there. They weren't going to score 2 goals in the third. I'm glad they scored 1, but 2 was insurmountable. But yeah, like, tripping on the blue line, a 4-minute penalty, just one, like, mistakes that if they didn't occur, those goals probably wouldn't go in, and it would be a different story. But they're digging themselves such a hole because they're not getting points. You know, these 1-goal regulation losses are terrible for standings. Just because you're close in a game, but you have nothing to show for it, it's not good. You're digging yourself a hole deeper and deeper every time this happens. You got to push these games to overtime and get points no matter how. 3 of these games, like I mentioned, the 2-1-0 shutouts in this past game, if you go into overtime, I mean, your record looks better, you're better positioned in the standings, you could catch some teams, but when you lose in regulation, I mean, there's very little positives to come out of these except little morale victories, but not even this game had any morale victories. So we'll see what kind of team shows up Thursday. It's starting to look like a long season, but I gave this team 10 games as a preseason workout, and then we'll see. It's a 10th game Thursday, so I'll make a 10-game progress report. We'll see how far they've come compared to last season, and we'll get more of a picture colored after these 10 games. So that's it for me. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. Camera's off. Goodbye.